Okay, well, Roughness Vigor is about to face quite possibly its hardest challenge yet. It is 22nd Hematite, 1074, early summer, population of 36 still. And from the deep, dark recesses of the north part of the caverns, a blood spider has arrived. This is an air-breathing chelicerae arthropod that has 2 body segments, 8 legs, and no chewing mouth parts. It has sharp, venomous mandibles, however. It dwells in mountain canyons. It cannot spin web, but it jumps from higher ground onto unsuspecting prey. She is very muscular and just gigantic overall. Her chitin is carmine, and her eyes are black as black can be. And there she is. She's about ready to just make mincemeat of this poor pet here of Zealous. Nobody is stationed down there. We're going to station everyone. All of the squads except the hardy salves, who don't exist. I'm not going to put anyone in the military yet that doesn't belong, that hasn't been there. No mass recruitment just yet, but we're going to send those 3 squads down there. The warning alarm goes out. Looks like somebody's already up there fighting. Zealous was up there to protect his dog. Zealous toe roots. Where's that spider at? It's right on the edge somewhere. I can't target it, but it's all beat up and I don't see where it is. It charges down and pounces on top of him. Where's the combat log? There's a whole bunch of combat going on. The fire starter breathes fire, so Zealous is throwing his fire at the spider. He catches it in a cloud of flame. The dog is paralyzed from the neurotoxin, laying on the ground, not even twitching. The fire starter punches the blood spider in the right foot with his left hand. It tears apart some of the fat. Doesn't look like it's got a good bite on you yet. There's Vaser, he's up there somewhere. Vaser door columns. Somebody might be flying through the air. Nope, Zealous, I had you for a second. You're caught up in the smoke, I think. You're dodging through the smoke. It's parting around your face. I don't think you have any weapons, do you? You have arachna silk trousers on and a copper morningstar. Your copper morningstar leads the way. The fire starter bashes the blood spider in the left third foot, tearing the muscle. Motor nerves have been severed. Its leg twitches and kicks out. The fire starter bashes the blood spider in the right third foot. He's dancing around the blood spider, bashing in the leg joints, bashing in the knee joints, and he strikes it down. Zealous kills it. The fire starter bashes the blood spider in the cephalophorate thorax, tearing apart the muscle and tearing apart the brain. So wow, our fire starter just killed a blood spider. A troglodyte, a bog frog, and a blood spider that was non-significant. Fire starter, spider fiend. We're just going to keep adding on to your title until it stretches all the way across, I think. So I might have been a little bit paranoid for nothing there, but you can never be too sure with spiders. We didn't need all 3 squads to be called to duty. Oh no, somebody died. Nomal, the bulldog, has suffocated. So Zealous' pet paid the ultimate price. And Zealous, you didn't even get a scratch from it. I think you're gonna go pick up your poor dog. And then bury him. You think about it. You say a prayer over it. There you go. And you decide to leave your poor mutt. After you've said your goodbyes. Maybe the butcher will come and turn him into a totem for you or something. And yay, Olin, our cave tortoise, has given birth to hatchlings. They should swim around over here just for a bit. Possibly act as bait for that alligator. And looks like Doodle Alien and Stagger are up top sparring. So it's 25th Hematite, crisis averted, the blood spider went down. Zealous had studied spider anatomy rather well and learned all the weak points, disabling the beast's legs in one quick, amazing move. He just ran around it. Let's see. I guess I'm just going to let the dwarfs get back to digging stuff out, to training. They're all just gathered around and hanging out at the dining hall right now. I'm letting them hang out together. We're just taking things nice and slow. I could definitely pick things up and ramp things up a little bit. But why the rush? Let's just get situated in and enjoy the volcano while we can. Peacefully. Okay, well, I've set up our two animals here to be released. You can see the large scorpion has already been let go, a poisonous dog-sized predator found in deserts and caves. It may look not too dangerous, but its poison is deadly. It's actually, it's incredibly skinny. It wasn't fed very well by its captives, but it is still gigantic overall. It's brown and its eyes are pitch black. And we'll get a look at our skeleton buddy here in a moment when he's let go. Someone said not to let the eagle go because it'll fly away. We should keep it for a mating pair. Well, if you love something, you have to let it go. And we love these eagles, right? So we're going to let him fly around. And if he sticks around, so be it. If not, then it was nice having him around while he was. A huge eagle that nests in the high mountains. They are known for hunting large prey and unfortunate travelers. So there they are. They're now free to roam around, to adopt people. I'll keep my eye on them, and we'll find out who they adopt as owners, if anybody. It's always possible that nobody likes them in our fort. It is 20th Malachite Midsummer, and the migrant wave already came and went. But we didn't get any. Nobody wanted to arrive here. So there's Ken-chan. What does he need? Strange mood? What's he whispering? He is peculiarly secretive. I'm not sure if he has everything he needs. Pictures of cut gems, of square blocks, of stacked leather, of cut gems. So I need cut gems, square blocks, and the leather. Let's see. We'll go to the workshop here. We need thrones, but we don't need any more tables. So we'll just cut a few blocks. And at the jeweler's workshop here, we'll cut some pineapple opal and some onyx opal. And what else do we want to give him to work with? We'll cut the fire opal. There we go. I'm sure he'll take one of those first gems that are cut. But we'll give him a choice maybe if he waits. Still have Tells Darcy and Rogue to Jack sparring. They spar, like I think I've said before, they spar pretty much every day of the year it seems like. Where are they at? There's Tells Darcy organizing combat training. Sergeant Shima, he's going to attend a training session. Rogue to Jack is done, he's going to get a drink. Mean Melter, he's going to lead a dodging demonstration. He's a novice dodger and a novice teacher. He's learning his skills. He wants to be a squad leader someday. There's Rob. He's going to watch a dodging demonstration. He's a dabbling dodger, an accomplished miner, and a grand master weaponsmith. We need to get him down there crafting some stuff, I think. Let's check our stockpiles. Been a while since I've looked at it. 51 bars. Yeah, it's still going rather slow. We have gold bars, 6 of them. Mule soap, horse soap, cow soap. 6 iron. Could make some iron weapons, some iron swords. Looks like the smoothing's almost done. I'm having them smooth down this whole area. This is going to be a dining hall. And these 2 offshoots are going to be small barracks. I think they'll be barracks where soldiers sleep. They won't train in them, but they'll have their beds and their gear stored there. Who knows where they'll end up training. Probably out here. This is going to be a courtyard, I imagine. Either this area... Oh gosh, what's going on? Something happened. There was a glitch in the system. Come on, hold together. Okay. Yeah, we're probably about ready to have a huge siege, would be my guess. Come on, I know you can do it, girl. Let's pause it for a moment, see if that helps. The game's paused, so it's 22nd Malachite. I'm just going to pause it and let it buffer through all this. But I'll unpause it and let it run here in a moment. But what we're going to do is expand all of this out eventually, I believe, too. Remove all of this sand and turn this into a massive training area with training dummies, maybe spike pits and stuff for recruits to do their danger room training in. It's going to be quite massive all the way over and around this area by the time we're done. There we go. Unpause it. Nope, it's still kind of locking up. So something big's going on. I'm going to let it happen, and whenever we come back, hopefully it won't be because something bad was going on. Okay, well, I'm kind of taking drastic measures here. It's 14th Galena, 1074, and, I'm putting the drawbridge down. We have a whole bunch of dead bodies up there, and they're releasing ghosts to come haunt us. Ravad has risen and is haunting the fortress. And besides the ghosts, I'm also having that issue with my game locking up. It's not like an FPS hit where, you know, there's too much pathfinding, so you go from 30 frames slowly to 20, and then a season later you're down to 15, and then a season later you're down to 10. It's not like it's because of extra mobs and stuff. I'm not exactly sure what is causing this hitching, this skipping. But if burying these bodies up there and getting rid of some of these ghosts don't help it out, I'm just going to leave this drawbridge down. Vaser cancels smelt ore, interrupted by bog frogs. Let's give our military something to do. Let's pause it real quick. And I'm just going to pull up a list for the helmed urges. Let's see. Give them a kill order. Select from a list. Ooh, that's loud. But we're going to tell them to kill all of the bog frogs. Well, we've got the gate down. Excuse me. HI. Yeah. They can just go out there and chase the bog frogs down. Get to it, the helmed urges. Sergeant Shima becomes a wrestler. They all strap their gear on and grab whatever weapons they can find. They're going to go bludgeon some frogs in the head. Probably kick up an ambush or 3. Like I say, whenever my frame rate starts to get crappy like this, I lose interest very quick in the fortress. Sorry, guys. If it stays bad, I'm kind of hoping they kick up a whole bunch of ambushes. And then, you know, it won't be the end of our dwarf fortress journey. I'm just saying that. Not by any means. This playlist isn't quite long enough yet. So let's see. We're going to... Actually, I need to go to my stockpile and reclaim all the corpses through there, don't I? Corpses. 63 total corpses. We'll just... Any of these names that look dwarven, which is pretty much all of them. Smunstew, that's not. Smunstew, Nugslew, Zargskus, Grey Wolf Skeleton, no. Kaloralora Tonkers. Ooh, Erush, maybe. Snang, Kogan. Some of these are quite questionable. They might just be dwarven names. Snang, I don't know who Snang is. Obviously an important skeleton because it's pink even when it's unforbid. So I think that is all of the skeletons. Let's take a look at these tombs that we've got placed first, and then we'll let them go grab those bodies out there. So let's see, on the very edge here we have Irolisi resting in peace, followed by Mr. Phaserbeam, Daedric Dwarf, Mr. Nuke, Master Fancy Pants, Toady the First, Calrog Man, Three Toe, Jeff Major, and Master Ozra. That's their graves. They might be the only people who actually get buried. Let's see, burial receptacle, mica coffin. Place one right there. And that'll be enough room for one more person, at least. The bog frog is fighting, so they're chasing down bog frogs. I've got coffins being pumped out from there. Still making blocks. Let's put more coffins behind that. Coffins in an armor stand. So I'm just going to let the dwarfs gather those bodies. You can tell where it pauses, and then the dwarfs suddenly catch up and run really quick at like triple the frames, trying to catch up for the lost, who knows, processes. A thief! Oh no, chase the thief. The kobold thief takes off. So yeah, we're going to be kicking up thieves for a bit. Crows are stealing our stuff out there. And an Azurkum caravan from Aiku Bocharutu has arrived. So we'll get some stuff hauled to our trade depot while they're here. And you know what? It's going to be crazy. So the Pale Citadels, we're going to move them, station them in the doorway here. We're going to leave the stable clasps open just in case that alligator comes back down there. I'm still paranoid about that. We've got a cave carp down there. Merchants, merchants, merchants. Just fire imps, cave carp, bog frog. One bog frog left. Who's chasing it down? Who's closest? Looks like that bog frog is all alone. He's trying to sneak in behind the merchants. So yep, I'll let the merchants get unloaded. Ooh, never mind. They just Kicked up an ambush. Who did it? We have Hammurabi there. Jello Snark there. There's an ambush somewhere over here. Oh, there it is, up here. To the north of our map. Oh boy. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trollkins and stuff. Who is this? Mistress Maceman, Song Flydob. Smunstu Brush Plague. Nurgzung Union's Wrath. Slamaz Cruel Praises. Dostingraf Sound Tickles. They're all goblins and trollkins. We're gonna scramble the military, all of them. Station them in the front of the doorway here. Woe be to anybody who's currently outside and thinking they're gonna charge ahead on their own. Somebody just got struck down. Olin, the cave tortoise, was up there. He's the one who uncovered the ambush, and he is struck down. So we have Jello Snark, Hammurabi, and Sergeant Shima. They are not charging forward after the trollkins, thankfully. They pack up and head back to the entrance of the fort. Wham. Skippy hitchiness. I'm excited for this. Let's see what happens. And a vile force of darkness has arrived. Well, this is it. We're going to make a stand here. The stand against the darkness, and a stand against the evil Hitching. Oh, a whole bunch of werewolves. Come at us, werewolves. There's another werewolf party up there. Oh, we're going to have slow motion time to think about all of this. Let's see. See if I can get back to the entrance. Sorry, guys. I'm taking the cheap way out. I don't know how to fix this hitching here. And it's driving me crazy. I've tried for a couple days now. And quite frankly, I'm ready for the werewolves to wash over us. The Azrakam Elf Swordsman and Lotsa is fighting. So let's see. Looks like the Trollkins have made it down here, and the merchants are tackling them head on. A motor nerve has been severed. The Azrakam Elf Swordsman slashes the Mistress Maceman in the right lower leg, shattering the bone. You know what? We might as well recruit everyone into the military here. So Dion, you can go in. I know that this is kind of sudden, guys. I do feel bad. The Eye, you're going in. Slaxer, you're going in. Raidsoft, there you are. So the stable clasps is all set up now. The Helmed Urges, go down the list. Who's going into the Helmed Urges? Most people should have a squad by now. Box McCloud, there's room for you. Blind Chaos, there's room for you. Peter, Mr. Insane, 24 volunteers. Whoops, not everybody made it in there. The Pale Citadels. Ooh, Mr. Insane, you need a home. Triple H, Glenn, Dowd Pride, Cappy. So the Pale Citadels is filled, and the Hardy Salves. They need a leader. Who's the first person? Raise your hand. Step right up. Ferret Fiend, he wants to be a leader. He wants to avenge those poor little ferrets that died earlier. And he's going to get his chance. Who's going in there? Oh man, I think they're going to have a small squad. Just him and Zartine. Zartine's talented though. He's the fire starter, I believe. Unless that's Z-Hall I'm thinking of. Let's see. We will activate everyone. Everybody go to active training. Active training. Everybody A, B, C, and D. Move and station yourselves in the entrance here. You are the gate this time. Hopefully they don't destroy the bridge. Well, it looks like those wussy trolls are already running away. The merchants did a good job of scattering them, taking down their leader. The Azrakam swordsman twists the embedded sword around in the Barghest's upper body. It cuts the beast in half. And he falls to the ground. So let's see, this will be a nice little last stand. It might not be a last stand, the werewolves could scatter. If they even show up. Yep, here they come. They've caught a scent of blood. The blood of those foes who were struck down earlier. A thief has just popped up out of nowhere, and a Snatcher has popped up. Snatcher tries to grab someone, but the merchants open fire. They haven't even made it to the gate yet. There's Blind Chaos. I think he's giving chase after Zolok. And another ambush! On the edge of the volcano, they've ambushed one of our spaniel puppies. They chop him down and slam him into a tree. Oh god, another ambush. This time the Trollkins are... They jump out of the shadows, kicked up by the werewolves. They clash. The Trollkins, the Goblins, the Barghests. They all get separated and picked apart by the werewolves. The Grey Werewolf Wrestler releases his grip, and 24 volunteers, you've bled to death. Someone else has bled to death. Blind Chaos, you've bled to death. A couple people went outside. It looks like they got chewed on by a werewolf. Everyone else so far has decided to stay right here where it's comfortable. And Boza seduced piss. He's got the most sweet, seducing piss in the entire land, apparently. He's charging around the corner. A goblin swordsman. He catches an arrow from the merchant. The flying arrow strikes the goblin in the left upper leg, bruising the muscle. And Bucks McCloud, he cancels whatever he was doing. He's going to battle. Triple H, the expedition leader, is there. He charges forward, and they swarm and collide into the goblin. The legendary shipwright strikes at it, but the shot is blocked. The goblin swordsman punches Vaser in the upper body with his left hand, bruising the muscle and bruising the liver. Vaser reels back in shock. The Ezekam Elf swordsman slashes the goblin swordsman in the right upper leg. His leg flies off and the goblin falls onto the ground. Raidsoft throws a punch, bruises the muscle in the goblin's left hand. The goblin swordsman gives in to pain. Let's see, who else do we have going on here? Sergeant Shima punches the gobliness. Everybody's punching. Nobody has any weapons. There's no improvising going on here. The Ezekam Elf swordsman slashes the gobliness in the left hand. The hand sails off and slides into the sand. Somebody died? No, J7, you've been struck down. The Slayer of Backs slashes the Barghest Hammerman in the upper body with the copper short sword. It tears apart the muscle, shattering the right rib. Another tendon's been torn in his body, and Zartine punches the Barghest Hammerman. He's having trouble breathing. The Barghest begins puking. A couple people with battle wounds take off towards the hospital. Hammurabi, he's had a head wound. He took a nice swift blow to his ear. It's dangling. He's mumbling. Chili Noodle, your right hand has been hacked. I don't think you're right-handed. You need to update those ledgers, damn it. We can't have your hand gone. The Sun Gold Crescent Arrow lodges firmly in the wound, and more people are fighting. So I think that they did a good job of striking down the goblins there, but it's not over even by a long shot. This brave elf here, damn, give him some credit. Prokarki, the esteemed hold, he has a hatred in his heart for werewolves, and he stands there unloading arrows on them as they charge down. Triple H, you've suffocated. You took a sword right through your chest whenever the Barghists charge around the corner. And Prokari, he's faint here. His left upper arm has been gnawed off. The werewolf has it in his mouth, shaking it around. But the werewolf also paid a price, and he lost his arm. But he's holding out, and he shakes the elf around, and he dies. So this is it. Box McCloud, you've bled to death. Here comes a white mane werewolf. Everybody's charging for it. There's going to be a lot of chaos here, guys. Good luck. They charge the corner. Dwarves and werewolves collide. The Ezekam Elves have already been scattered. There's only a few that remain. They've joined forces with us. It's lots of Shellban the elf. Who else is up here? We have Doodle Alien, Ryminor. The Great Werewolf Wrestler strikes Doodle Alien in the left hand. He's beating you down with a spider silk left glove. It bruises the muscle. They stagger and collide, slipping on the blood on the bridge. Dion hacks the white mane werewolf in the left lower leg, tearing the muscle. An artery has been opened, and Mr. Insane lands a scratch, tearing the muscle and bruising the bone. Jello Snark lands a punch on the white mane werewolf's lower body from behind, tearing the skin and bruising the pancreas. Dion again hacks the white mane werewolf in the left lower arm with the battle axe, tearing apart the muscle. Sensory nerves have been severed. The werewolf loses control of his arm, and the Slayer of Backs stabs the white mane werewolf in the lower body. So the dwarves with weapons are surging forward, while the others with just their fists and knees and elbows and shins begin bashing and pummeling down the werewolves. Little do they know there's a huge batch over here that'll be streaming in any time. The Slayer of Backs stabs the white mane werewolf in the head from behind, tearing the muscle, fracturing the skull. The werewolf falls down to the ground. The Grey Werewolf Wrestler strikes Ferret Fiend in the left upper arm, and the Grey Werewolf Wrestler collides with Ferret Fiend. They fall over onto the ground, slamming into the wall. Jello Snark punches the Grey Werewolf Wrestler in the right paw, tearing the skin. He dodges a blow. And let's see, Road the Sandworm slaps the Grey Werewolf Wrestler with the flat of his copper short sword. It fractures the bone. And more werewolves pile around the corner and jump into the fray. Dowd Pride punches the werewolf from behind in the head, knocking him unconscious, and the Grey Werewolf Wrestler strikes the war dog in the upper body with the Arachna Silkstock. It bruises the dog. Grey Werewolf Wrestler grabs Griffin God by the left hand, and Raidsoft lands a punch, bruising the head of the werewolf. They fight some more. The legendary Shipwright throws an attack and misses, and Dowd Pride lands another punch, tearing the skin and bruising the left lung of a werewolf. The Grey Werewolf Wrestler strikes the war dog, so the werewolves are attacking our war dogs. I haven't seen them land too many blows on our dwarfs yet. The Grey Werewolf Wrestler strikes Griffin God in the left lower leg, bruising the muscle, and Glenn punches the Grey Werewolf Wrestler in the right upper arm. Dowd Pride punches the Grey Werewolf Wrestler in the left lower leg, and Stagger lands a punch from behind, but the attack glances off the beast's greasy fur. The Grey Werewolf Wrestler shakes the war dog around by the head, clamping down, and Dion hacks the Grey Werewolf Wrestler in the left lower leg from behind. The muscle tears apart. The beast howls in pain. Stagger lands a punch. The Grey Werewolf Wrestler claws at another war dog that lunges at his throat, and the legendary Shipwright Rob punches the Grey Werewolf Wrestler in the left lower leg. And Griffin God's been struck down. Dion again hacks the Grey Werewolf Wrestler in the right hand from the side, tearing apart the muscle, bruising the bone. An artery has been opened by the attack. Many nerves have been severed. His claws are useless. The Slayer of Backs stabs the Grey Werewolf Wrestler in the head, tearing the muscle, fracturing the skull. A tendon's been torn, the brain's been bruised, but the beast still continues to bite and lash around. There's still so many more over here. They're still pouring around the corner. The dwarfs are triumphantly holding the bridge. The elves are still here as well. One of them's being pinned down by the werewolf. The Grey Werewolf Wrestler grabs another war dog and throws it against the wall. Raidsoft lands a punch on the Grey Werewolf Wrestler's right upper arm. It tears the skin. Monam the war dog's bled to death, and the Grey Werewolf Wrestler strikes the war dog in the left front leg. It bruises it. More attacks. Another war dog down, and Slackster lands an attack. Doodle Alien hacks the Grey Werewolf Wrestler in the right lower leg from behind. It tears apart the muscle, and Ferret Fiend tries to land a punch, but the Werewolf Wrestler rolls to the side and avoids it. The Slayer of Backs picks himself up off the ground. Doodle Alien hacks the Grey Werewolf Wrestler in the left upper leg from behind. It tears the muscle. The beast falls over. They're picking up blades that they find around, I guess. Seems like more of them are finding weapons. Dowd Pride punches a Grey Werewolf, and Stagger punches one in the hand. It tears the skin. More people stand up. They'd been knocked over by a dwarf that was thrown through the crowd. Doodle Alien hacks the Grey Werewolf Wrestler in the right upper leg, tearing apart the muscle. Sensory nerves have been severed. The dwarfs are running through the werewolf group as quickly as they can, slicing lower extremities, trying to topple the beasts. The Grey Werewolf Wrestler bites the Azrakam Elf swordsman in the hand. His hand sells off when the beast spits it out, and Dowd Pride lands another punch. He's wrestling, trying to get a chokehold on it. Gamma Ray bashes the Grey Werewolf Wrestler in the left lower arm, and Mr. Insane kicks the Grey Werewolf Wrestler in the lower arm. It tears the skin and bruises the bone. Doodle Alien tries to land an attack, but the werewolf rolls to the side. Zartine attacks the Grey Wolf. A whole bunch of misses. Everybody tries to attack, but they miss. Road the Sandworm stabs the Grey Werewolf Wrestler in the right lower leg. It tears the muscle. The Grey Werewolf Wrestler retches on the ground. Let them just fumble around for a bit, hacking and slashing. The Grey Werewolf Wrestler grabs the Zartine by the upper front tooth with his lower arm, and a dog launches himself and bites the Grey Werewolf Wrestler in the right lower arm, latching on and shaking. Slayer of Backs raises his sword again and stabs the Grey Werewolf Wrestler in the right lower leg. It fractures the bone. Two more werewolves are about ready to enter the fight here. Our dwarfs are getting tired and exhausted. Let's take a closer look at some of them. Mr. Insane, he's very unhappy, but he's not hurt. Rob, you're winded. You've taken a couple blows. Your right leg's mangled and has bite marks on it. Ferret Fiend, murdered Ramp. You're doing fine, you're not hurt. That werewolf's beat down. Wow, he's all beat up, but he's not dead. That Azrakam Elf, he's holding his ground, still firing arrows. Stagger, you've got a bite mark on your leg. Dowd Pride, your chest is wounded. You're chasing down this Grey Werewolf Wrestler. Badger Man, Silver, you're not hurt. Jello Snark and Vaser, you both are pretty beat up. Your legs have bite marks on them. Zartine the first, there you are, shove channel. You've got bite marks on your right upper hand, your right upper leg, but you're holding your ground and you're fighting this werewolf right here. You've bruised his stomach and his head's all beat in. More werewolves there. Dion, crypt voice. He's thirsty. Your testicle wound is still throbbing, but it's the least thing on your mind right now. Rogue Jack Bronze Miles, you're very unhappy, but you're leading your group into battle triumphantly. We'll unpause it and let them get back to it. Time is probably running out for them as soon as this group arrives. The Pelican Slayer punches the Grey Werewolf Wrestler in the right upper arm, tears apart the skin and bruises the bone. Somebody takes off running out the front door. It's Rob. He needs to go catch his breath, either that or he sees something in the distance that he wants. And Rode the Sandworm punches the Grey Werewolf Wrestler in the left upper arm, tearing the skin. Zartine, you've bled to death. The Grey Werewolf Wrestler strikes the dog, bruising the muscle. Who else gets beat up here? Mr. Insane punches the Grey Werewolf Wrestler in the head. It tears apart the skin. A tendon in the skull has been torn. And the Slayer of Backs slashes the Grey Werewolf Wrestler in the head, tearing apart the muscle, shattering the skull. A tendon in the skull has been torn. So he's sitting there hacking down as many as he can. Another dog bleeds to death. And the Grey Werewolf Wrestler slacks her down by the silkworm silk left mitten and the Grey Werewolf Wrestler's leg. So he put a weird leg maneuver on you. And the Slayer of Backs slashes the Grey Werewolf Wrestler in the head again. He brings his sword up and down, stabbing the beast over and over and over. Dowd Pride attacks, but it jumps to the side, and Doodle Alien hacks the Grey Werewolf Wrestler in the right upper leg with the copper battle axe, tearing apart the muscle. An artery has been opened. Oh no, who peeked around the corner? Gamma Ray. Gamma Ray stepped forward and decided he was going to look around the corner for just a moment. He's got bite marks on his right elbow and his left upper leg. He sees a nightmare approaching. One wave of werewolves here, and the elite werewolves in the rear, being led by their leader. They charge. They completely bypass him. One did. The other decided it was going to take him down. Mr. Insane punches the Grey Werewolf Wrestler in the head, tearing apart the skin. And the werewolf attacks Gamma Ray, but he scrambles to the side. Glenn the First bleeds to death. Struck down, he had his jugular torn out by a werewolf. Rode the Sandworm. He stabs the werewolf in the upper body, tearing the muscle and fracturing the middle spine's bone. The werewolf goes limp and falls onto the ground. Rode the Sandworm again stabs the werewolf in the upper arm, fracturing the bone. A tendon's been torn. And the Pelican Slayer punches the bloody werewolf wrestler in the upper body, tearing the skin. A tendon's been torn. Mr. Insane tries to land a punch, but the werewolf dodges to the side. And Dowd Pride the First punches the bloody werewolf in the upper body, tearing the skin and bruising the heart. He begins to palpitate weirdly, and the beast feels weak. The fire starter, Spider Fiend. Forget who that was. But he lands an attack with his copper Morningstar. He bashes a werewolf in the head, fracturing the muscle, fracturing the skull. That tendon's been torn. And that beast falls over as well. So we've got a whole bunch of disabled and knocked over werewolves here, but jeez. There's so many dwarves scattered. Where are they all at? We have a population of 28, but you wouldn't know it by looking at our front gate here where the military is supposed to be stationed. However, filling our hospital is extremely packed. It's going to be easy picking for the werewolves when they pour in. And Rode the Sandworm slashes the Grey Werewolf Wrestler in the lower body with the copper short sword. It tears apart the muscle and bruises the guts. Raidsoft bites the Grey Werewolf Wrestler in the left arm from behind. The cave tortoise is bled to death. And the Grey Werewolf Wrestler misses the Slayer of Backs. It gnashes and just narrowly misses him. The Grey Werewolf Wrestler grabs the Gamma Ray and throws him to the ground. And Doodle Alien kicks the werewolf in the left foot, tearing the skin. Oh. The bridge is about to fall. Slaxer, you're there. Gamma Ray, you're there. You're right in front of the approaching wave of werewolves. I have a feeling that they're about to swarm over you. The fire-starter spider fiend bashes the werewolf in the head, tearing a tendon, and the werewolf wrestler grabs Slaxer by the raccoon leather left glove and throws him to the ground. Raidsoft lands a kick, and the fire-starter bashes the gray werewolf in the head, tearing apart the muscle, tearing apart the upper spine's nervous system. I'm just going to let them bash for a bit. It is 25th Galena, and people are fighting. There's fire and smoke in the stairwell. Possibly bodies are burning. And that hitching is still going on. Stagger is caught in the flames. More people are dead. Possibly dogs as well. An artery has been torn in the gray werewolf's leg. Gamma Ray's dead. Tore apart. Slaxer, you've bled to death. A few remaining dwarfs scatter into the forest outside the front gate, and the werewolves continue to stream in. Blood and guts are knee-deep in the entrance. Looks like we have a few fighters left. Let's get a look at them as soon as it unpauses there. So we have Opalite Puzzle Hairs. There he is. He's not even hurt yet. He's got all of his sun gold stuff on. There's Mr. Insane. He's pale. He's got bite marks all over his body. He's miserable. Z-Hall, Firestarter, the Spider Killer, the Blood Spider Killer. There he is. He's about ready to be nommed on. Mean Melter, you're undamaged. You don't have a weapon, unfortunately. I think you're trying to drag your friend there down to the hospital. But the werewolves pounce, and they seal the escape route. And the gray werewolf wrestler releases his grip on Mr. Insane's first finger. Mean Melter stands up. Oh, come on. Quit locking up. So yeah, we'll just let them fight. It was good while it lasted, everyone. More people scatter over the bridge, perhaps thinking about throwing themselves off into it. They try to regroup there, chased down the hallway by a lone, hungry, frenzied werewolf that caught a scent of blood. People's arms that they've dragged remain on the bridge. And let's see. We have Drink Golf, the gray werewolf wrestler here. He's fighting Rogue Jack, who's very unhappy. He's led a squad of some of his still remaining warriors there to try to make maybe one last stand to regroup. The werewolf claws the war dog. Claws it in half. And it looks like they've surrounded this werewolf. They've got him cornered on the bridge. Ferret Fiend, you've been struck down. Mean Melter, you've bled to death. Chewed to pieces on the stairwell there. Your blood runs down the stairwell deep into the fort. Sergeant Shima's bled to death. Hey, I think the Hitching's gone. And a whole bunch of dwarfs are just standing around this werewolf, beating him down. Unable to kill the beast, however. The Slayer of Backs stabs the gray werewolf wrestler in the head, tearing apart the muscle, shattering the skull. A tendon's been torn. And still the beast kicks and twitches. Nope, it's back. The stray scorpion's been struck down. He didn't even get to spend that much time in the fort. Who is that? We have a ghost watching us. Either that or somebody just threw themselves off the bridge. It's Rovan Hoofworks, one of the migrants who arrived and was chewed to pieces, or killed by the Trollkins. He was skewered. Rode the Sandworm slashes him in the skull. I think they might have finally killed that one. Hang on, let's pause it. There's a lot going on. We have Bimble there. That's Dion. I've changed your titles too. So actually, let's fix that. Kills. Drink Golf, the werewolf. Dion killed the werewolf. Congratulations. You got the kill, but it took a whole fortress to do it. There's Domos. There's Raidsoft. Kill. Bosa Seduced Piss. Who knows? These werewolves still might run away. We might need a use for your name after all. Stagger's there, Jealous Narc's there. The Pelican Slayer, damn it, I forgot who that was already. I think that was Badger Man, actually. Kills, a gray werewolf, and one pelican. I'm gonna put Badger Man because you're the only green name I know. The only green named person I remember in the military. So there, hey look, there's a merchant. Archon Carnal Fed. Apparently we told the merchants to gather back here and we would protect them as best we could. A, B, C, and D. Everybody scramble to the bridge. Station yourselves there if you can. And Rode the Sandworm slashes another one. Where is he at? Where is our Road the Sandworm? I'm gonna have to find that. Tells Darcy, because you're fighting a whole bunch of people. You've got 3 notable kills. Admired Riddle, the Giant Sandworm, the Grey Werewolf. Just the Grey Werewolf. He's so badass, that's what he was known as. And Mangy Heat, the Grey Werewolf. Let's see, where are you? You are charging out front. Did a lot of these werewolves run away, or did they just pour into the heart of our base? Let's see. We have Dowd Pride webbed bolts there, and tells Darcy, who's not hurt at all. You've got copper armor on, copper high boots. What are your skills? A proficient swords dwarf, a competent shield user, an adequate armor user, expert fighter, novice dodger. That's what all that training was for this past year. So you and Dowd Pride, for what he's worth, he's a little bit injured. His heart, his kidney, his leftover arm. You guys are holding the bridge down, chopping down werewolves. Some more of the squad streams in from the north hallway. Looks like Dion and somebody else. Are all these werewolves dead, or are they just bypassing them? I don't think they're dead. The werewolves are just standing there feasting. They're not worried. Oh man, a whole bunch of werewolves did just run up from that central stairwell, and they charge onto the bridge, where they tear a kitty to pieces and throw him into the volcano. Somebody's gonna get thrown into the... Ooh. Looks like Stagger, you're fighting this Grey Werewolf here. Who died? The Eye died. Hammurabi, you bled to death. I thought Stagger was about ready to be thrown off the edge of the bridge there. The other recruits who should be helping you decided they were going to go right here and fight this one. You've been left to fight on your own. And Stagger, you didn't make it. The werewolf got the best of you. Man, Road the Sandworm stabs the Grey Werewolf wrestler in the head, tearing apart the skull. An artery's been torn. Or an artery's been opened, a tendon in the skull's been torn. My eyes are starting to zone out here. We got more people fighting, more dwarves coming through and holding the gate here. Let's see, A, B, C, and D. Everybody move here now, if you can. We still have enough people alive, it looks like. Ooh, a Snatcher tried to break in. And they chase him down. And Jello Snark, you've bled to death. Road the Sandworm slashes the Grey Werewolf in the skull again. Another headshot. Where'd you die at, Slaxer? Right there, right at the top of the bridge. Well, rest in peace to you. Raid Soft, you run out the front gate. Rogue Jack, you run out the front gate. You charge after the Snatcher. Autumn is here. It is first limestone, early autumn. Population 14. We're still doing the battle of the werewolves here. Dion, you've been interrupted. Road the Sandworm slashes the Grey Werewolf wrestler in the head, tearing apart the muscle, fracturing the skull. So they're killing our... Oh, wow, that's where they all went. So yeah, I was excited for just a moment. I had thought that we might be able to pull off a victory here. That they'd somehow ran away. But no, they went down to our barn and they are feasting on our livestock now. There's a whole bunch of them down there. And their leader. Who is their leader? Neglu Wealthy Bench. He's there with the werewolf who lost his right arm earlier. Let's see, our hospital is a disaster. There's Variax unconscious and sleeping through it all in a coma. Chili Noodle, you're unconscious. We have Cappy pinned onto the floor here by a Grey Werewolf wrestler. The werewolf is apparently chewing on your right arm right now. It's in his mouth, so he's going to be killing you soon. Bagwam, you are in our little office area over here, being chewed on by a Grey Werewolf wrestler. Your days are numbered. Nobody's in their bedrooms. Looks like there's a dead body in the stairwell there too. Ken-chan, you're still wandering around, hungry, dehydrated, drowsy. You could be the last one left alive here. We have kids working the mason shop still. Tilla is, and 3-man 7-5. You know what? Just cancel this. Just go grab some. Go grab the bodies of your fallen comrades or something. Carry them to their final resting place. The Pelican Slayer did something. Bagwam, you bled to death yet? Chewed down. And we've got Ming. We've got Dowd Pride here. Let's check you out. What have you done? You've killed the Grey Werewolf. You've got 1 kill under your belt. Tells Darcy. There you are. You're a proficient werewolf killer now at this point. Badger Man cancels pickup equipment. Dowd Pride punches the gray werewolf right in the head. His head whips back. And Road the Sandworm stabs the gray werewolf wrestler in the head, tearing apart the brain and muscle. So man, Bax, Rogue to Jack here, you might actually keep everything alive. I mean, if they can keep this up and just somehow landing these miracle blows, toppling the werewolves and getting these headshots, who knows? They cut down and smash down that werewolf as well. So, looks like all the werewolves on the surface are done. Done and dead, except this one over here. We've got Badger Man. Cappy, you've suffocated. Your lungs were tore out. Badger Man and Dion are killing Feedhorn there. Oh, look at all that blood on the bridge. Kinchan's in the corner of the dining hall. What are these werewolves doing? They feasted on our cattle down there, and they've done a cursory glance and scouting mission through our fortress. So now they're going to come back through the top and probably kill everyone else. Dion hacks the werewolf in the head. All I'm seeing on these headshots now. Dion hacks the gray werewolf wrestler in the head, tearing apart the muscle. Dion hacks it again, tearing apart the muscle. The Pelican Slayer punches him in the head with his right hand. Raidsoft punches him in the head with his right hand. So they're beating that werewolf down in the head up there. Oh, it's only a matter of time. We have 12 dwarfs left. It's second limestone, early autumn. Everybody regroup. Regroup here by the trade depot. The gray werewolf wrestler releases his grip on 3-man 7-5, who is about to become lunch. And Raidsoft, you've bled to death from your wounds. Dion, there you go, picking up equipment. Probably not a good idea. But you go down the stairs anyways. Let's see, down, there you go. You find yourself in the middle of a dark stairwell surrounded by werewolves. What do? 3-man 7-5 is knocked over and tumbles backwards. There's Dion continuing to go down. He's cornered. He's pinned in the stairwell. He's thirsty. They've slammed him against the wall. The gray werewolf wrestler strikes 3-man 7-5 in the upper arm. And the white mane werewolf wrestler takes Dion down by his leather cloak. He grabbed it as Dion tried to race by, and he pulled him down onto the ground. See if Dion can save himself. Dion has become a manager. Apparently his wounds are too great. The white mane werewolf throws Dion wrestler by the third finger. He slides across the floor, wherever he is now. I think that was him, no? Well, he's somewhere around here. We do have somebody down at the bottom of the stairs here. Dowd Pride, unconscious and tired. And Dion, you've bled to death. The gray werewolf wrestler strikes 3-man 7-5 in the right hand, knocking him over. So Dowd Pride's getting chewed on. How's the battle up top going? We have Rogue to Jack there. Where's our other brave warrior? Rogue to Jack and Road the Sandworm. The two brave warriors who were training for so long over here. Looks like they're probably the only two left. They charge forward into battle to make one valiant last stand for the fortress here. The Slayer of Back stabs the gray werewolf wrestler in the head, tearing apart the muscle and fracturing the upper spine. And 3-man 7-5 is still putting up a fight somewhere. He's not given up yet. He lands a blow on the werewolf. The werewolf begins to vomit, and 3-man 7-5 vomits back. Gray werewolf wrestler strikes him again, but the eland cloak deflects the blow. And Badgerman, you've bled to death, finally giving in to your wounds. Road the Sandworm punches the gray werewolf wrestler in the right paw. And let's see, the Slayer of Backs bashes and slashes the gray werewolf wrestler in the left leg. Nerves have been severed. The beast falls over. They continue to do their blade dance. The two brave warriors, cutting and slicing through the werewolf horde, as if they were butter. Road the Sandworm stabs the gray werewolf wrestler in the right hand. The werewolf's claws shoot out, and then become worthless. Road the Sandworm slashes the gray werewolf wrestler in the head. The beast is paralyzed, and 3-man 7-5, you finally gave in to your wounds and bled to death. So, either the... Oh no, and a kidnapper has made off with Tilla the First. It's probably a better fate than you would have ended up with here. Oh man, look at all those werewolves. Road the Sandworm stabs the Grey Werewolf Wrestler in the left paw. And Road the Sandworm, yep, they're just slashing all over the place. I don't know if they've been hurt at all or not. Have they? Rogue Jack, you're very unhappy. You know that the fortress is certainly not what it once was. Where is... Oh wow, this is all we've got left. Not even one full page. We've got Variax, who is still in a coma in his bed. Ken-chan, who is melancholy and will never be of use to us. Vaser, I'm not sure where you're stationed at. Dowd Pride, you are somewhere. You were getting chewed on last I saw, I thought. Rogued Jack, you're fine. Tells Darcy and Chili Noodle. Let's see, where's Chili Noodle? He's sleeping in bed there. So Chili Noodle and Variax are gone. Ken-chan, you are gone. Dowd Pride, you're unconscious and exhausted, but for some reason this werewolf wrestler just can't finish the job. We won't complain about it. We continue to slice through them. The Slayer of Backs slashes the Grey Werewolf Wrestler in the head, cutting tendons and nerves. And the stray cave tortoise has been struck down. So these werewolves are now officially afraid of us, I guess. I'm going to give a kill command here in a moment to go kill their leader. Because they've got that one dead. So A, B, C, and D. Let's see. Kill. I'm going to give the command to kill Negedluju there, the general. I don't know if they'll be able to fight through the werewolves and get to him. Maybe they can throw his ass right off this bridge. And then we can get Rogue Jack and tells Darcy here to retire someplace fancy away from this fortress. Oh my gosh. The werewolves were waiting, and they've gathered on the bridge. There's going to be an epic last fight here. They chase a puppy. We have tells Darcy, Clapolis, Clapoils, the Oak of Coiling, and Rogue Jack, Bronze Miles, the Burial of Ages. He's going to bury all these bastard werewolves. So they charge after the leader. Oh no! And the werewolves pick up tells Darcy and throw him into the volcano. He's going to sink quickly. Rogue Jack continues to fight. He saw his friend go over the edge, but pushed it from his mind. The werewolves charge around. Yeah! And tells Darcy finds our adamantine spire down there somewhere. There he goes. Down, 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 sinking. Unfortunately, I don't know if he'll burn up or not, because I don't have temperature on. So there's the adamantine spire. It's actually, it's pretty neat. Pretty close to our volcano. It's right here. So if we would have just dug straight down, we would have found it there. So he's going to continue sinking. Dowd Pride, you're still being chewed on. The werewolf just has you held down to the ground and is tenderly licking your wounds, gently extracting every last drop of blood from you that it can, while it's most delicious. So let's see, here you are, Rogue Jack, Bronze Miles. I think you're being chased away by the werewolves now. They chase you out the front gate, and you don't even hesitate. So let's see, Dowd Pride, yep, you're being strangled down there now. Road the Sandworm, you're doing something. You're fighting imps on your way down to hell. You're down there in the lava. This is just insane. There's more right there. There's more adamantine, more cotton candy. So yep, tells Darcy you're drowning at the bottom of the magma ocean. Rest in peace to you. And Rogue Jack, you just got thrown into the water. So fire and water is how those two end. Killed by the bloody werewolf wrestler. I'm not sure we have any other survivors left in the fort here. Besides Dowd Pride, who's being tortured and licked to death. And then Variax and Chili Noodle there. So, not exactly what I was expecting to happen. It is 7th limestone, 1074, early autumn. And the fortress is, it's done for. The werewolves take off after the remaining puppies. Hey, we got somebody alive up here. There's Vaser. I'm not sure what he's doing there. I think he was carried there. They were trying to save him. He's paralyzed from the waist down due to a biting on his back. Oh look, an Obi, the Forgotten Beast, has shown up at the very end. Where is he at? For Leatherworks, toppled by the Forgotten Beast. That would be over here somewhere. There it is. Obi Ari Oramoisen. He's charging up. through our fortress. Or he was. There he is. Come on, you alligator. Break down that door. And then come kill all these werewolves. The Grey Werewolf Wrestler strikes the Azure merchant, throwing him onto the ground. They pounce on the merchants and begin to chew on them. Well, actually, you know, I think that this door here is going to be sufficient enough to keep Obi the alligator out. So Obi will have control of this part of the caverns, and the werewolves will control this part of our fortress in the volcano. Is Roguejack drowned yet? Yep, he's drowned. Orthoclay's door has finally been destroyed. The alligator bursts through. He arrives with a billowing of icy smoke stuff. The Grey Werewolf strangles Dowd Pride and is caught in the frozen beast extract. The Forgotten Beast is caught in the cloud of his own extract. Somebody is slammed against the wall. The alligator stuns the beast and then charges up. Chili Noodle, you've been struck down. And Variax, you've been struck down. The alligator comes for his dinner finally. He'd been waiting for Variax. He knew he was up here. And he finally took his opportunity to come nom on him. So the alligator and the werewolf are fighting there. Who will win? Wow. The other werewolves heard their friend howl in pain, and they streamed down the stairwell. The alligator gives it his all, spraying his frozen extract and crystallizing as many lungs and eyeballs as he can. Tossing and turning, biting and clamping, doing his death roll. Legs and arms fly off. The Grey Werewolf Wrestler bites the Forgotten Beast in the left rear leg, tearing the muscle, bruising the tendon. I have no idea who will win this one. The Grey Werewolf Wrestler bites the Forgotten Beast in the lower body. It tears the muscle. The alligator turns to the side and finally gives in. The Azure Merchant attacks the Grey Werewolf, so they're fighting somewhere. Yep. Well, this is it for the fortress, guys. I think I'll go ahead and abandon here. We don't have any survivors. Who are our survivors? We have Ken-chan, who is crazy, and Vaser, who is immobilized. Vaser lives to the very end. Who knows? Maybe we'll see him still there on an adventure if it comes through, if we ever find this place. So, 13th limestone, 1074, early autumn. Roughness vigor is abandoned. We succumb to the invasion. Your strength has been broken, and the fortress falls, never again to be reclaimed by dwarven hands.